welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And today we're going to talk about something or other about following trends and how important it is to do so and how important it is for you to change things up. And the reason why I thought of this was a couple of weeks ago, you came over just before the live show and you brought a couple of sports cards asking me if I needed them or not. And one of the cards was a Jack Kemp, like a 1962 or 63 Fleer card. And do you remember that card?
I do.
Do you remember what you said that it was worth?
It's 100 maybe?
Yep, you said it was worth about $100, and it was graded fairly high, if I recall.
It was decent, a 6 maybe? Or
yeah, 6, something like that. And I laughed because back 20 years ago, when Jack Kemp was, there was talk about him running for Congress, or he was in Congress, talking about running for president. That was not an easy card to find. Those Fleer football cards are never easy cards to find.
Sure.
And that was $100 pretty much for anyone that wasn't all creased up back then.
Right.
So it's gone nowhere in value or gone down in value over the last 20 years.
Sure.
And so my question to you is, how often do you, I don't necessarily want to, I guess it's kind of a couple of different things. It's following the markets. How closely do you follow the markets, and how closely do you follow the trends, and how often do you change things up? I guess that's a really big question, but let me ask you that.
I mean, it depends on the trend. Some trends, people make tons of money. I didn't want to get involved, like even with the Beanie Babies. Never really got into it much. You know, if some came in, I'd buy some here and there, but I wasn't a big Beanie Baby guy. Fidget spinners, I think I missed the boat on that. So some of that stuff, that trinkety stuff, I kind of missed the boat on or don't bother with, but trends, like collectible trends, I try to get involved if I can. Funkos are great, but you can't sell Funkos unless you're buying them. So you got to buy them somewhere. Secondhand will buy collections. And Amazon's great for the trends. eBay's a little different. But I buy what I can make money on. So, sometimes I may have nothing trending if nothing comes my way, So.
Right. And the reason, there's two different points that I'm going to make today. And the one point is, take the comic books, for example. It's nearly a full-time job to stay on top of the trends because there are all these rumors out there and there are the boards out there and, oh my goodness gracious, this character is going to be appearing in a movie and this movie is going to be coming out and, oh my gosh, their first appearance was in, and all of a sudden those are really, really hot books. And if you've got a lot of backstock and they're set up easy for you to search, well, then all of a sudden you look and you go, wow, making this up, but, JLA Confidential number 14 is really hot, and you go and you find yours and you sell it right then, and you can make some good money on it. Right. You also can make some money by hitting the other dealers around that don't follow the trends and buying that kind of stuff. But you're earning your money.
Oh, that's time consuming, sure.
You're earning your money because, and the other thing too is you out of those books that suddenly get hot and fly up, how many of those books retain their value? Now, what I've noticed is they might be at $10, they go up to $80, and then they go back down to $25 or $30. So they still will have more value than they originally did.
Sure.
But how many of them actually retain the value up at that 80 and continue to climb up?
Yeah, not too many. The rarest of the rares, especially when it's newer stuff. Then you got to go to the variants or the low number variants, and those are going to be the ones, just like a rare rookie card of someone. That's always going to be the most valuable one, the rarest one or the signed one or whatever. But, he might, like Joe Burrow has thousands of rookies, but there might be 5 rare ones that are always going to be the ones that go up. Just like with the comic books, Miles Morales, there's 2 or 3 that are worth 5,000-10,000, but a bunch of other number ones in first appearance that are worth 50, 100, 200, 500.
Right. Well, the other question I was going to have talking about the trends is, I'm not only talking about the collectibles trends, I'm also talking about the overall trends. You hear about businesses and their advertising on TikTok. We do have an Instagram presence. We do have that there, but we don't use it for anything other than promote the channel and give tips and all that kind of thing. But we're not out there trying to sell on it. We both sort of have a Facebook presence, I'm going to say.
Minimal for me.
But we're not really trying to sell things. I may still have a MySpace page. I don't even know anymore. But
I believe that.
but that's the question I have as well is, you could spend all of your time chasing the new trends. Oh my gosh, I got to be on Clubhouse. I got to be on.
Yeah.
and you end up spending all of your time on that as well. So what's a happy medium between, because the other side of things is if you're not staying at least a little bit current, you have the problem that I had back in 2016, 2017, where my business was completely stagnated. My sales weren't very good. I wasn't selling very much stuff. I hadn't changed anything up in 10 years. I was still doing the bad listing as I was doing in the early 2000s. I was still doing. I hadn't changed anything up. And then I kind of got with, I'm not going to say necessarily with the trends, but I kind of, wow, people are on YouTube talking about stuff. And wow, I never thought of that. Oh, I never thought of that. And any problems we had, occasionally I would read something or other, like on e-commerce bites or on a board somewhere or other in order to solve it. But it was really poorly done on my part back then. So I guess what's the trade-off? When is...
Well, I think it depends. If it's me, how much you enjoy doing it. Unfortunately, I don't enjoy doing it, and I really should. So I put very little time in it. I had younger employees that I thought were good at it because they love doing social media. They're on their phone. I'd give them the task, and they'd forget to do it. 3 days a week turned into 2 days a week, turned into twice a month. I got another employee that's supposed to be doing it every day. And it's as simple as, hey, look at our listings. We have a lot of great stuff. Find one item that's catchy or new or something or worth a lot of money that no one else has. And just post it, item of the day. That's something simple to get people there. And he can't even do that every day. Literally 5 minutes. You're getting paid. You put a note on your monitor. You sit down, turn on your computer, post an item, boom. But they don't even do that. So... it's frustrating. I'm not saying I don't have the time. I can certainly make the time. It's just something I'd rather pawn off on my employees to do.
So I guess that's the question. We're a couple of older people, and we're not, again, we're not going to be on TikTok. We're not going to be doing that kind of thing necessarily. But you sit there and you look at these things and you wonder, what all are we missing? How much would it help business to do it? But then the flip side of it is, how many of our customers are on those various venues, and would it actually help business? Same thing with the comic books and all that stuff. Is it really worth my time to stay right on top of everything? Or is it more, if I get a pile of comic books, I have to trust that what the market is at that point is good enough? And if I sit there, I guess my way of thinking about stuff like that with the comic books, let's say, is I get a collection of comic books today. I list them at market value today. I can't cry in 6 months when it suddenly becomes hot and somebody buys it in 6 months for the $12 that I'm asking for it, and all of a sudden it's a $200 book. That's on me, but I was still made money at the $12.
Sure.
I don't know how many Ms. Marvel #1s I've sold throughout the years, because it was a fairly common book. You can get it regularly. Sure. And I know I sold them for, $8, $10 because that's what the market was on them. Now, last I looked, it was, I don't know, $100, $200, something other like that last time I looked. And I got $8 out of them. I made money at $8. So I guess the point is, you need to change somewhat. You can't stay where you are, because what worked on selling on eBay back in 2002 is not going to work today. It's just not. Sure. We go back to the days where you didn't actually even need a picture to sell an item on eBay. Now you need a picture. So if we were sitting there trying to list without a picture and saying, well, we don't even have a camera, we'll just put up a stock photo that says, see our great item, which people used to do. If you remember back in the day too, they would have that. If that was our entire picture, is see our great item, and we're not using the box for the condition because that wasn't around. So you've obviously got to change some, and you've got to change things up as you see them. And obviously, if I'm sitting back just trying to sell Beanie Babies, you can make a living doing that, I'm sure, because I'm sure enough people still do collect them. But you're certainly not going to be making the money you were 15, 20 years ago doing that. So I guess the point is, you do have to stay with the times to some extent, but you don't always have to be the leader. And I'm sure you've got friends out there that who always wanted to get the hot new electronic thing, always wanted to get the hot new this, the hot new that, and they were at the
Used to be me. Yeah.
they were at the front end of every single trend, and they always had to have the, here they were paying $500 for some piece of electronic equipment that either they could wait 6 months, a year, and be paying $250 for, or they were buying some piece of electronic equipment that wouldn't even be around in 6 months because whatever format it was, whatever idea it was, it just didn't take off. So yeah, it's cool to be at the, you can be a cool influencer and all that kind of thing if you're at the cutting edge of all the trends. But in order to sell on eBay and Amazon and all that, you don't necessarily have to do that. You just have to follow enough to know where the trends are going and change accordingly. For example, if you're watching, and we'll just use Beanie Babies as an example, if all of a sudden you see the bottom is getting set to drop out of them, unload yours. So follow the trends enough to know when to get out of things and when you have to change stuff up in order to make your sales better. But don't necessarily be at the cutting edge, because I think you're going to end up spending a lot of time doing things that aren't necessarily going to pay off for you in the long term.
True.
So hopefully that helps you some. Do hit the like button if you haven't already. I don't see why you would not have. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.